Page 48, Waves of the Danube. Still in E minor. They give you a progression at the top at 1, 4, 1, 5, 7, 1. Okay, that's great, wonderful. Doesn't mean anything to me, but you can have fun with it, I guess, if you want. I want to talk about this piece just a little bit. I'm going to start with the right hand. It starts out just with the chords. That's a 5-7 chord. Another reason to know the chords. Next line's a 1 chord. Third line's 4 chord. Cool, huh? Top of page 49, look at the first ending. They're saying, and these are staccato, so just pluck them with the fingers. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I don't like this 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 and stuff. If it were really fast, you'd have problems with that. This isn't that fast, you could get away with it. I still don't like it. So I'm going to suggest this. Fingering. For those eighth notes, 2, 1, 2, 3. Then a 1. Like that. It's this is like the fingering for a G scale. Right? We just have that F sharp to start with. That's all. You're in on second finger, and then you're going on to the next measure, not the next measure, the next line, and you're here. 1, 3 on the first one, and then 2, 4. Is what I recommend. Now on page 49 and the fourth line down, you have all these A's. I'm going to recommend you alternate 1 and 3 fingers. You're here. You're going to lift the hand up anyway, so go ahead and use third finger on the first one. And then fourth finger on the third measure. And you should be okay. For the left hand, on page 48, the left hand gets the melody, so you want to hear the left hand. There's really nothing to it. You're just starting with the second line on page 49, left hand gets these chords. 5-7 chord, 1 chord. And again, when I interpret these, I tend to hang on to the first note of the measure and then play the other notes disconnected, not staccato, just disconnect. I guess you could call it staccato. It's a long staccato, but I think mentally, I just think disconnect them. Pedal it the way they're telling you to pedal it. No, I see no problems with the pedaling, exactly as it is. At the top of page 49 in the second ending, I'm going to hold that note 4 counts. Now keep in mind the right hand, that's an arpeggiated, that's a rolled chord, because it's got that squiggly line. So when you have a rolled chord in one hand, like here, let's get off of that. Let's just any rolled chord. Here, I'll go to a C major chord. If I have notes in the other hand, that part of the chord that's close to it, then I can play all the notes in both hands as one rolled chord. But if the notes in the other hand are further apart, they don't fit, then it doesn't work. So at that point, I got to play the rolled chord only in the right hand or whichever hand it's in, and I'll play the first note with the note in the other hand. So you have to, are they close enough together to do them all as one chord, or do you have to do one as a chord and the other as just a regular block chord? One little thing about music notation I want to point out. Maybe it's not throwing you, or maybe you never noticed, or don't care, I don't know. Look at the top of page 49, the last 3 measures. I'm looking at the pedal indication. They're telling you in the third measure from the measure right before the first ending, they're telling you to pedal that. And then lift it up when you play the F sharp. So we get a staccato there. Well, if you look at the second ending, it's got a pedal, but it doesn't have a down thing. And what they're telling you to do is, it's a continuation of the pedaling from the measure before the first ending. You're holding the pedal down for 2 measures. The measure before the first ending and the second ending. and that's how they notate that. If they put a down line there on the second inning, then that would indicate to you to change the pedal, and they don't want you to do that. There is an error in the piece that I believe is an error. I want to point it out, and that is the first measure of the top of page 49. This measure, there's no pedal indication, and there's no reason for there not to be, because you're doing it, you set a pattern, and we're just continuing that pattern. So every time you play that first a note, a dotted half note in the left hand, and you have the chords in the right hand, you pedal that. So there's that, I believe, should be pedaled. So I would recommend you pedal that first measure at the top of page 49. On page 48, the end of the second line in the right hand, that chord, that's a rolled chord. It's called squiggly line. And I will play that first note on the beat. Let's try this out. 3/4 time with a pickup beat. I'll give us 2 counts. I will play it just the way it is. It's got a DC Alfine. You know how that works, right? I hope by now. If not, go back to level 1. Right hand's here, left hand's here, foot's on the pedal. Ready, go. Rest.